When I started my financial journey, I made every mistake, from bad credit to zero savings. But once I learned these 10 lessons, everything changed. My relationship with money, stress, freedom, all transformed. Today, I'm breaking down the 10 personal finance lessons that completely changed my life, and they can change yours too. Number 1 is pay yourself first. Most people save what's left over at the end of the month, but the wealthy save first, because if you say you're gonna save what's left at the end of the month, chances are you'll probably end up spending it on things that you don't need, impulse buys, fun little packages. And what's gonna end up happening is most of the time there's not gonna be anything left at the end of the month to save, and you're gonna end up thinking, where did all my money go? But if you save first, then you'll automatically adjust and spend what's left over, and you won't even miss it. So automate 10 to 20% of your income to savings and investments. It's kind of like when your employer takes out your 401k contribution before they give you your paycheck, so you don't even really miss it. You just get used to spending what's left over. Treat your future self like a bill that needs to be paid, because if you think about it, it's actually like the most important bill that you pay is setting yourself up for a future that you actually want, a future that you're actually going to enjoy, where you can live a nice and maybe luxurious lifestyle in the future. The second one is budgeting is freedom, not restriction. Budgets aren't punishments, they're awareness. Once you track where your money goes, you gain control. A lot of people will think that budgeting is restricting, and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to live my life because I'm only 20 once, I'm only young once, and I just want to treat myself. And while I'm all for enjoying the present and living your best life while you're young, as well as living your best life at every stage of your life, basically, if you're not budgeting, you really have no awareness and no control of where your money goes. If you're not tracking where your money goes, chances are it's not going anywhere that you would want it to go. And burying your head in the sand and being like, oh, I don't like to look at money, I don't like to look at the numbers, is a really fun and easy thing to do when you're young and you just feel like you're not ready for that kind of responsibility yet. But the truth is, not everyone is bad with their money. And if you don't start looking at your expenses and creating a budget, chances are you're gonna get left behind. People are gonna be out there making money moves and getting ahead and building wealth. And one day, some of your friends are gonna reach financial independence. And you're gonna be like, well, how come they're working part-time, taking multiple luxury vacations a year, buying all the luxury designer handbags, and I'm just stuck with no money left over at the end of each month? So take back control of your life and actually decide how you want your money to be spent. You can also use apps to automate your budgeting, and it makes it a lot easier for you to track your expenses. And this is the mindset shift that is important. You can't improve what you don't measure. It's kind of like if you were to say you're gonna lose weight this year, but you refuse to get on the scale and you just kind of go off of vibes, and you're like, oh, don't worry, I'll definitely lose weight, I don't like to step on the scale or do any kind of measurements. Chances are it's going to be really hard for you to make actual real progress. Number 3 is build an emergency fund. 57% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency, so save 3 to 6 months of expenses and put that in high yield savings account. This is going to protect you if anything happens. It's going to protect you from having to go into debt with really bad interest rates. For example, when your car breaks down or when your job slows down, you'll be safe instead of feeling panicked. Number 4 is avoid lifestyle inflation. Every raise should not equal a lifestyle upgrade. Keep your lifestyle steady and invest the difference. If you can live below your means, and if you can live way below your means and just invest that difference, you're gonna be surprised by how much your money can grow in such a short period of time. It's going to put you way ahead of others. For example, every $200 that you can save and invest a month is going to turn into $100,000 in 20 years at a 7% rate of return. Number 5 is learn how credit really works. Credit isn't evil, it's just leverage. It's just a tool like anything else. So pay your credit card on time, do not keep a balance. Make sure you keep your credit utilization rate below 30%, and make sure that you set up automatic payments so that you never miss a payment. And this is important because even if you are super responsible with your money, things happen. I heard a story of this lady who said she never missed a credit card payment before, but she was going through a really rough divorce and she missed one So it's just good to set up automatic payments. That way, no matter what happens, you're protected. A fun tip is to use a credit card for bills that you already pay and then pay it off monthly to build your credit score faster. I also love to take advantage of the little perks like travel credit cards or cashback credit cards. But remember, those only work, you only actually get the perks if you're not paying any interest. If you end up paying interest and carrying a balance, then the credit card company is basically winning and they're taking advantage of you and you're not taking advantage of them. So if you are going to try to get these perks, make sure that you are on top of it. Number 6 is invest early, even if it's small. The earlier you start, the less you need later. For example, if you start investing at the age of 25 and you invest $200 a month, you're going to end up with about $500,000 at the age of 60. And to make it easier, you can automate it. You can invest it into index funds, your Roth IRA, or your 401k. A good tip is to definitely max out your tax advantage accounts first. So most people recommend that you take the maximum employer match from your 401k. For example, if your employer matches up to 5%, let's say, then you want to make sure that you contribute enough to get the match, because the match from your 401k is essentially free money and it's essentially like 100% return on your money. So if your employer does offer it, you want to make sure you take full advantage. And then after that, you can max out your Roth IRA. And then after that, whatever's left over, you can then go back and try to max out your 401k. Now, this does come with a bit of a caveat because I know most of the people watching this video probably want to retire early or plan on retiring early. So that's the only thing about putting all of your money into tax advantage accounts is you generally cannot withdraw until you're 59 and a half without penalties. So that is something to think about and kind of decide. And this is where I think personal finance gets personal, because if you don't plan on retiring early, then you probably would end up with more money putting everything into tax advantage accounts. But if you know that you're somebody who plans on retiring early, then at that point, it really doesn't make sense for you to put all of your money into retirement accounts, and you kind of have to really sit down and think about how much you want to allocate to each account. Number 7 is learn to differentiate assets and liabilities. And this is such an important one. Every time that you buy something, ask yourself, am I buying an asset or am I buying a liability? Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take it out. And everyone's favorite liability is a car. I feel like in the US, it's so common to buy a new car. So often I hear stories about people who buy brand new cars. So they take out a car loan for $60,000 at some crazy interest rate. They're making insanely high payments. And on top of that, their insurance premiums also go up. And then after a couple of years, when they look up how much their car is worth, it's probably worth like $40,000, $30,000 at that point because of depreciation. So now they're stuck with this $60,000 loan for an asset, a car that's only worth about half of what they paid for it. And if you add all of the interest that they end up paying over the years, it's probably going to be a lot more than $60,000 for something that's, again, going to be worth about half. So if you think about it, what are you really paying for? You're paying like $30,000 for whose benefit? It's not for your benefit. You're paying basically the bank, the car company, the car salesman. And at the end of the day, basically everybody wins except you. You're like the only loser in this equation. But it's so normalized. Everybody buys brand new cars and it's like something that we don't even think about. And you might even know people who every few years likes to trade in their car and get a brand new one. And they're just in this cycle of paying endless amounts of money to make somebody else rich. And that to me doesn't make any sense. Think about what's going to make you rich. Think about what's going to make your future children rich, not what's going to make the car salesman rich, what's going to make the car company rich, or the bank who gave you the car loan. So something that is an asset, if you were to buy index funds, if you were to invest in your 401k, invest in your Roth IRA, those are all assets that's actually going to grow over time and put more money in your pocket and make you rich. And a good example is that your skills can even be an asset, because if you think about it, if a skill can increase your earning potential, then that is so valuable. Number 8 is to track your net worth, not your income. A high income doesn't mean anything if you end up spending it all. I think we're very obsessed with income in the US, and it's very normal. But we judge people's financial well-being based on their income, when really there's so many people who are in debt, who are living a very financially irresponsible life. And really, at the end of the day, your net worth is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that actually shows the whole story and the real story. For example, if you have two people, one person making $50,000, let's say they live in Denver, I don't know, the other person making $100,000, but let's say they live in New York City. Now, let's say the person who's making $50,000 is super responsible and lives with roommates and lives below their means, and they're saving $20,000 a year. But the person who's making $100,000 in New York City has to pay for really high rent and just an expensive lifestyle. And maybe they've inflated their lifestyle all the way. So at the end of the year, they're actually only saving $10,000 every year. Over time, the person making $50,000 is going to end up so much richer than the person making $100,000 because it's about how much you save and invest, not how much you make. So calculate your net worth monthly, take your assets and subtract your liabilities and look at that number. And if you start to look at it every month, you're going to watch it grow and it's going to be so motivating. It's really going to help push you to save and invest even more, or to maybe grow your income in other ways so that you can save and invest even more. Number 9 is that money is highly emotional. Your spending habits often reflect your self-worth, identity, and comfort. So it's actually very important for you to heal your relationship with money. A good example of this is overspending on luxury to look rich or to look successful, but that's actually what's going to keep you broke. A good tip is to ask yourself, what emotion am I buying right now? If you ever watch like those perfume ads, you know it's not about the product. They're trying to sell you an emotion. They're trying to sell you a status, a feeling. So just ask yourself, how can I actually get that feeling without buying this product? Because the truth is, most products are not going to give you that feeling. They might for like a second, but if you want to feel that way, you can just tap into your emotions and feel that way. And number 10 is money buys freedom, not things. The ultimate goal isn't stuff, it's options. The freedom to say no to a job you don't like, to walk away from toxic situations, and to choose how you want to spend your time. Every dollar saved and invested buys back a little bit of your life. These lessons took me years to learn, and I wish someone told me sooner. Money isn't about greed, it's about peace and freedom. Start where you are, stay consistent, and your future self will thank you. Comment below which lesson hit you the hardest, and if this helped, be sure to like and subscribe for more financial growth content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!